Hey, what's up, travelers? So today in this little video, I'm actually remaking the Venus and blah 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 sign series because I want to do it with a better quality, and I'm so much smarter now than I was before. No, but I want to keep the certain standards up to par on this channel. So this is actually about your Venus sign or her Venus sign and not the actual sun sign. So if you don't know what a Venus sign, which is more related to how we handle love and relationships, you should just go on like Google, type in like birth chart calculator, and you're gonna get all your little placements in there. But this is Venus in Aries for a lady. So how is that fine lady going to be? Well, first of all, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a boom of energy. It's kind of associated to the beginning of times, if you want, or like the first light that just sparked. So they're fiery beings, and they're all about outputting energy intensely, or this is what they're going to attract. So these beings, or these females, these lovely ladies, they can be a little bit more aggressive and assertive in their style of expression, because it's the first passionate, the first fiery spark of life, really. And Aries is said to be ruled, so the planet that kind of like fits there, or that correlates to Aries, if you want, is Mars. And we know that Mars and Venus are naturally opposite principles. So when Venus falls in Aries, it's like Venus isn't really at home there. So it's kind of like she's at work. She's debilitated, or she's in detriment. Now, it isn't necessarily bad. It could be one of her greatest gifts. But it's just that Venus, who usually likes to be all about love and harmony and harmonizing the principles of life and making sure everything is beautiful, when it falls into Aries, it's more charging like the ram into something, being passionate, being fiery, being just as the god of war and aggressive in a certain sense. So she's gonna attract beings who are able to really, and especially men who are able to really show their inner fire. Men who are able to kind of like confront her, or men who are able to stand their ground and remain fiery, as she's like, no, but she's gonna maybe subconsciously or consciously, she's going to try to oppose the people she loves. If you're really having something at heart, she might be the type of girl really to kind of challenge you in your beliefs, or challenge you in what makes you passionate, kind of in a way so that like she could feel your heat, so that she could feel your passion for herself, so that she could know if you truly are a true warrior ready to hold her Venus energy. Aries is kind of like this quick fire. It's represented by spring, right? In tropical astrology or the Western astrology, Aries starts when spring starts. So it's just like a boom of energy, which doesn't last very long. It's the spark of life happening. So she's constantly going to have to kind of be challenged by you. It might be, at first, it might be just like not totally falling for her and just making it too easy for her, like so that she can continue to try to put her Venus on you and try to attract you. But at one point, if you're actually in a relationship with her, you're going to have to find a way to actively challenge her, perhaps in her values, in her identity, especially in her image of the self. If you're able to kind of like show her the flaws, or like show her, because Aries is all about the self, it's all about me, I'm like this, not like that. So you got to be able to really challenge her in a certain way, or her fire will just die out and she will meet someone else, and she'll and she'll keep going into this cycle of never really having a steady relationship, because she's always looking for the fiery passion. And when she gets into a relationship, the challenge or the opposition or the warrior energy just kind of dies out as things are harmonized too much. And this is why Venus doesn't, I won't say she doesn't really like being in Aries, but it definitely shows that she has work to do, or a certain peculiarity. It's not a common placement for Venus, so it's not like a place where Venus really feels at home. Now, if you want to actually attract her, or like flirt with her, or know like if you're doing the right thing, I think really if you're able to show how passionate you are, if you're able to really remain fiery and remain true to your identity, even if she's like, no, you're wrong, blah 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 blah, because she might just be hot-headed, you know. She's really living in the moment, especially with how she relates to things she loves and likes. So she might be outputting a lot of energy, so you might think you have to step down. But if you're true to yourself, if you're actually knowing that like what you're outputting as energy is true, you don't be afraid to oppose her. She's gonna respect that. She's going to know also in a certain way that people are kind of like scared in a way to relate to her, or they're scared to oppose her, as they might think that she's going to get pissed and not forgive them, or she's not going to understand. No, it's just that she's living her emotions in the moment. So at times she's just gonna outburst, you know, she's just gonna output a burst of her energy. And if you're not understanding that, you're not going to be able to really handle the chemistry with her, you know. Now Aries is ruled by the head, so they might have to like output steam or energy through their head, you know, just like the RAM that has to charge into something. That's why they can charge into relationships also if they're not really taking into consideration the whole of things, you know. Or they might just feel really passionate and be like, oh, like this is it, like yeah, but then the relationship might die off, you know, because it's such a quick fire. But yeah, they're ruled by the head and they have horns, so they like to charge into stuff. So if you're able to really like, maybe like if you're having fun with her, like pull her hair or something, kiss her passionately, make her feel the fire in her head, she's really going to attract energy and magnetize energy through her head. As much as she can output it, she's going to receive it from people's head also. So she's gonna like someone who's able to charge into something a lot of the time. Now, being a fire sign, of course, she will get naturally, and you know, it's not because you're having like placements of incompatible elements like water and earth that she won't like it. But naturally, fire signs, they mesh well with and I mean, sometimes a challenge is good, especially for Aries, because they're gonna enjoy kind of like the strangeness, or they're gonna enjoy the kind of challenge that another type of thinking of being kind of like brings them. So they might actually like water and they might actually like earth, but fire gets well with fire. So Sagittarius and Leo, she's naturally going to handle these energies well with her. And naturally Aries also, like if you've got something conjunct like at the same placement as her Venus and Aries, she's gonna enjoy that. Now air signs like Aquarius, which can kind of like detach himself from like the actual energy outputted by the Aries, she might like that because she's not going to expect where the Aquarius is coming from, and she's always going to feel kind of like challenged. Plus the air of Aquarius brings a certain fuel for the fire, for the passion, for the expression of the self that Aries is. And Leo, not Leo, I mean Gemini is always outputting ideas like that, you know. So Gemini often is not really afraid of like having to debate or mentally spar with someone, or to bring ideas, or to show the flip side of things. So she might like Gemini also. And Libra, which is the opposite sign to Aries, and it's actually the sign ruling Venus. So as much as she likes someone who's able to like charge into something, she might actually like someone who's able to balance things out, who's able to really not be as much in the moment as fire, but who can kind of like step back and see things objectively. She's going to respect that. It's going to help her balance her in your face type of attitude. You know, if you want to actually give a gift to Venus and Aries, now this is like a bit like, I feel like the actual like fire signs are a bit harder to like know what to give to them, but you have to make her feel passionate. You have to make her know that you're passionate about her, because she's gonna relate to the passion of people. She's gonna relate to the fiery aspect of people naturally. So show her the grandeur of how she makes you feel. Be in actions, you know. Show her with your actions. Where an actual Venus and Earth sign might enjoy physical gifts more, Air signs might enjoy like mental gifts, like poetry or whatever. But you know, like Venus and Aries could like poetry also. But you know, air signs are more about like the mental aspect of things and using the mind to show, using words to show the affection. Water signs are more like an internal sensitivity that is shared and a kind of like intuitive comprehension. But fire signs, if you want to show to a fire sign or Venus and Aries girl that you're really passionate about her, it's all with the actions. And you gotta make it big, you know, you gotta make her feel the heat. So that's kind of like what I had to say, yo. Hope you liked it. Subscribe if you want, like if you please, and comment if you so wish and desire.